Hey friends. I'm really not great with technology. You will learn that if you haven't already, since my face was not in the first video. And then I failed a recording yesterday about this next chunk of the deposition. Uh, thought I had it, premiered it and everything without watching it. I was like, it's good. It wasn't good. There was no audio for the video. So like the actual deposition video. Of course, I had my voice and my face on it, but the deposition vi recording wasn't there. So I'm gonna try it again. Um, trying to remember. Oh yeah, so they were asking her about like if she had communicated with anyone after Epstein and Ghislaine gotten arrested or whatever, and she's like, "Well, yeah, it was big news. I probably talked to a lot of people about it." And that's kind of where we left off. Um, My brain is all over the place. I don't feel very good today, but we're just gonna keep going because this has been driving me nuts. I watched it after it premiered yesterday, the one I posted yesterday, and then I was like, okay, there's no sound. So hopefully this works. And sorry, I'm learning. I'm not gonna say I'm bad at this. I'm learning. I have lighting. Isn't that good? I think that's a good start. So let's go. Um, Probably more non-answers. We'll see. I don't know. Let's get into it.
And who would those discussions have been with?
I don't have any specific recollection.
Sorry, I rewound it a little too far. She doesn't remember the conversations she had because she probably talked to a bunch of people about
So
something.
moving forward in time just a little bit, you were Secretary of State under President Obama, is that correct?
Yes, it is.
And it was during his first term, 2009 to 2013.
That's correct.
And
Okay, remember, I think we talked about in the first episode, hopefully, and not the faulty recording. Um, that Secretary of State, I believe, is like in charge of passports and stuff. Just like store that. It's not, who knows what that means, but it could mean something.
and after you completed your time as Secretary of State, did you return in any role to the Clinton Foundation?
I did. I became active in it at that point.
And by being active in it, could you describe that for us, please?
Try to support the work that Bill and my daughter and the team had done, and look for ways to be helpful. It was something that I wanted to make sure I could support.
And please correct me if I'm wrong. You rejoined as a board member, is that right?
It might have been the first time I was a board member. I don't remember. Either the first or the second time. Yeah.
And speaking of, sounds like you were
Write it down.
heavily involved when you returned to
Gotta
the
make sure she
foundation, or I guess starting with the foundation at this point. In trying to accomplish those goals and initiatives, what were you doing, broadly speaking, on a daily basis, monthly basis, that sort of thing?
Well, I wanted to start a program about early learning for kids. And so we started something called Too Small to Fail, which I was very actively involved in with my daughter. And
Okay.
we worked.
Do you remember Too Big to Fail? Where all of us got hosed during the 2008 financial crisis and Obama bailed everyone out. So, like, while too little to fail or whatever she just called it sounds great. She's helping little people. I just like, just based off the name alone, it goes back to like build back better. They always say that and nothing good ever comes out of it. So, like, that's another one where, like, just remember it. Remember the name of her thing and like look into it later. I'm going to.
With pediatricians and other people to help parents, grandparents, aunts and uncles read, talk, and sing to their children so that they could help build brain cells. That was a major.
Forgive me. I'm obsessed with live music, right? And like lyrics, and I always have loved singing, even though I'm horrible at it. So, like, when she says the word sing, I'm like, you want families to sing? Like, she just strikes me as the last person who even like would think about music, let alone wanting people to like sing and be joyful and stuff. She doesn't strike me that way, but I digress.
Priority of mine, and I'm very proud of what we've built and the difference that it's made in, millions of kids' lives. I certainly did what I could to support the work that we do overseas through the Clinton Global Initiative, which has had a terrific track record of bringing people together to work in partnerships, to make commitments, to try to improve everything from, clean water to solar energy to improved education, all of the priorities that the partners we have bring to us that we try to help them with.
And thank you for that, Madam Secretary. We've had a few members join us. Would you guys please announce yourselves for the record?
Yes, Pat Fallon, 4th District of Texas. Got very 10th District of Pennsylvania.
Thank you both.
Is it Texas and Pennsylvania?
Mr. Perry, Scott Perry.
Thank you so much.
And Madam Secretary, as a board member, what type of responsibilities does that entail?
Oh, attending the board meetings, approving the agenda of work for the year, the budget that goes with it, that kind of
Okay,
responsibility.
the finance.
And you mentioned the Clinton Global Initiative. Just for clarity, I will likely refer to that as CGI as we go forward with this. CGI is a part of the Clinton Foundation. Is that accurate?
Yes.
And what was your role with CGI at this time period, right after you left being Secretary of State?
It was, again, to, support the staff that put together both the annual meeting, but also work during the year with our partners who'd made commitments to help them fulfill their commitments. So, if there were a meeting about a commitment that was made to get clean water to some very remote place, if there were a meeting, I might be invited to it to meet with the partners, to encourage them. It was mostly around the work that happens throughout the year in preparation for the annual meeting.
And forgive my ignorance, please. What happens at those annual meetings?
The annual meetings are a way for people to come together to make commitments that they have previewed with our staff. So I'll give you an example. Probably around, I don't know, somewhere between 12 and 15 years ago, I don't know specifically, Matt Damon, the actor, came to the Clinton Global Initiative because he said he really cared about clean water. And could we connect him with people that he could work with to get more clean water in more places in the world? So we did. We connected him to the...
I wonder if he likes that she name dropped him. I would be mortified, but
the gentleman who was a real expert on clean water. They started working together. They created something called water.org, which was a Clinton Global Initiative commitment that was made at the annual meeting. And then our staff worked with them. And I think it's fair to say that, they've been one of the most successful organizations in actually delivering clean water. But it's that kind of work. It's people who might have a good idea. Maybe they've got some resources. Maybe they have some experience. I'll give you another idea. So Procter & Gamble called us and said, one of our scientists, one of our chemists in the UK has created this packet of chemicals that can literally make the dirtiest water clean enough to drink. But we don't know what to do with it because we're a consumer company that sells products to middle-class people. This is something that would go to the very poor. What do we do with it if we come to CGI? Can you connect us with somebody who can help us? So we connected them with World Vision, and I think maybe one or two other organizations. And so they used the packets to literally go around the world cleaning water. And Bill went with them, Chelsea went with them, and they would go to rural Myanmar or rural Kenya, and they would take this bucket of dirty water and they'd dump the packet in, and then my daughter and my husband would drink it to show that it was clean. And that was a CGI commitment. We bring together governments.
Do you remember Obama drinking the water from Flint? That's what it's giving, is like they have this, they just have their performance that they always do. And I don't know how people don't. Okay, guys.
Local, state, national, businesses, philanthropies, NGOs, academics, anybody who has a good idea that we can help them work on and try to fulfill. That's what we do.
And thank you. The Clinton Foundation started shortly thereafter your husband, President Clinton, left office. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And CGI started a few years later. Is that right?
I think that's right. I think it started maybe 2005. Maybe.
Okay, I think in that first episode, again, hopefully I'm not getting these confused, but if you don't remember, I looked up her affiliation with Haiti and the Clinton Foundation and all this. And like basically the Haitians, she first of all had a hand in lowering the minimum wage for the Haitians the second she got there. And then also the Haitians are saying like billions went missing. Like billions went missing. She was supposed to provide 60,000 jobs to people at this like clothing factory, and 5,000 plus around people have been employed. So these are the things the Clinton Foundation does. If you haven't realized by now and you're a grown up, like you really need to start researching where your money is going, because these philanthropic organizations most of the time are just doing reputation uh like coverage. I don't know how you would say it, but like they're trying to put this, veneer of I love humanity and I do good things, but like underneath it is either just money laundering, or the sole purpose is to make you look better because you're really doing horrific stuff, like really. And just like research this foundation and research any foundation you're considering giving money to, because like there are some ribbon societies that take a vast majority of your donation and it doesn't go to your cause at all. So just food for thought. Let's continue.
I'm not sure.
And does CGI or the foundation more broadly perform any work in sex trafficking or human trafficking around the world?
There may be partners who make commitments about that. We have thousands and thousands of commitments. So I can't answer yes or no, but it might be an area that some of our commitment makers would be focused on.
And how did the foundation, the Clinton Foundation, how did that idea come to fruition? Was that your idea, President Clinton's idea?
Oh no, the Clinton Foundation was all Bill's idea. He set it up as he was leaving the White House. It was the entity that raised the money to build the Clinton Presidential Center, and then to carry on the work that he wanted to do. Shortly after he got out of the White House, he and Nelson Mandela were asked to come to the annual AIDS conference to see whether the two of them could do something that needed to be done, which was to try to stem the epidemic of HIV/AIDS. And so Bill started out trying to figure out how to deal with this problem. And
If you haven't looked into the whole AIDS thing, situation, you would never believe Fauci was involved. Who knew? I don't know. Though you just have to look into what these people are doing and remember that the people who control everything are eugenicists who think they're better than us and they view us as cattle. So like as long as you remember that going forward, your life will be more manageable because you'll understand better why they do the things they do. Like, at face value, it's like this doesn't make any sense. Like none of this makes sense. Why are they doing this? I don't get. But if you realize that they just look at us like cattle and they don't care about us. These people are in place to keep us quiet while the people above them keep manipulating everything. Our elected officials do nothing. They're there for 2 to 4 years, 2 to 4 years, 2 to 4 years, whatever, but they're always in and out. Who's not in and out? The bankers, the lobbyists, or I mean, they are too, because they're into government and then they'll come back out and be a lobbyist for the government and then they'll pop back in. Just remember this as these people try to manipulate you with your emotions. It's okay to have empathy. It's not okay to be manipulated by your emotions, by your humanity, because these people don't have it. They don't feel bad doing this to you because, and just remember this going forward.
Came to the conclusion that the best way would be to lower the price of the drugs that were being used in the United States, but were too expensive to be used around the world in order to treat more people. And I really give huge credit to both Bill's idea about how to do that, but also huge credit to President George W. Bush, because when President Bush took Bill to Pope John Paul's funeral in Rome, he and Bill were talking because President Bush was coming forward with the PEPFAR program. And so he and Bill were talking, and President Bush was very committed to this, and Bill was very committed.
PEPFAR. I don't know what that is at all, and she just said it like everyone's supposed to know what PEPFAR is. So remember that. We'll look into it later. I think I wrote it on my notes the other day, from my failed recording. So I still need to look into that.
And so Bill said to President Bush, I now have generic drugs being made in places like India that are much cheaper than the brand name drugs, and you could, with tax money, treat many more people. And so President Bush, to his credit, said, yeah, but my folks tell me that the drugs aren't as good as ours. And Bill said, I'll give them to you. You give them to the FDA, you test them, and I'll abide by your test. I think you can ask him if you want tomorrow, but I think he gave, I don't know, like 24 drugs, and the FDA approved 22. And President Bush was as good as his word. And so we began as the United States and the Clinton Foundation, because of that connection and that partnership, we began treating millions of people with low-cost drugs with federal PEPFAR money, saving millions of lives. Sadly, that's going to be reversed because of the attitudes of this administration and the cutbacks, but it was one of the great services to humanity. And I give President Bush and I give my husband enormous credit for doing something that wasn't going to get them headlines, wasn't going to get them, some kind of, statue put up, but was saving millions of lives, preventing mother-to-child transmission, preventing, people from dying. So that's what he was doing.
And thank you for that. Did Mr. Band play a significant role in helping set up the foundation initially?
Yes, he did.
And
Mr. Band.
CGI was initially created. Whose idea was that?
It was Bill's idea.
I do wonder why, because they haven't talked about this Mr. Band prior. Like usually they'll be like, oh, we're gonna refer to this as CGI from now on. But he didn't ever explain who Mr. Band is, and this feels like a little like redaction moment where they're like covering for people for some reason. I don't know. It's just weird. I looked up Mr. Band and like of course like music related stuff comes up. I have to dig deeper. I'm gonna have to look up like, Mr. Band Clinton Foundation and whatever, and but maybe they'll talk more about it. Like I haven't watched this is a reaction video. I've never done this before, but I've never watched this. This is just how I feel watching it first time. So I need to go back and do some research later.
Yeah, he went to Davos and he called me after he'd been at Davos and he said, a lot of interesting people, but they don't do anything but talk. And I have a better idea. Why don't we get people together? And yeah, they can talk, but they have to make commitments and they have to follow through on the commitments. And we could have an annual meeting that would bring people who were willing to make commitments. And that was his idea. And I thought it was a really good idea. And I encouraged him to go out and see if he could put it together.
Are you aware of Are you aware of anyone else helping formulate the idea for CGI?
Oh, I think he talked to a lot of people. I couldn't tell you who, but he talked to a lot of people.
Did Mr. Epstein have a role in shaping the formation of CGI?
I have no idea. I don't know anything about it.
Did Glenn Maxwell have any role in shaping CGI?
I don't have any idea about that.
I don't match her, by the way. I'm wearing an aqueous shirt. Just so you know.
I will enter as Majority Exhibit 11, the interview between Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche and Ms. Glenn Maxwell from July of 2025. We will get you all a copy momentarily.
That face.
I'm sorry, what was this exhibit?
This will be Majority 11.
Also, said this is a reaction video. I did react yesterday and it was a failed recording, but most of this I haven't seen before. It's just this little chunk
I would like
20
to
minutes that failed.
direct your attention to page 263.
Someone give me my readers. Why is the print so small?
Okay,
And on page 263, Ms. Maxwell tells Mr. Blanche that she had a role in shaping CGI. You said you were not aware of Ms. Maxwell having any role in shaping CGI.
I was not involved in the creation of CGI. Again, I was in the United States Senate. I was not involved in the work that was done to set up CGI.
No one discussed the formation of CGI with you?
That it was going to be set up, but I don't have any specific recollection of having any specific knowledge of it. No.
Did Mr. Epstein help craft the idea or formulation of CGI?
I don't have any idea. I don't know anything about that.
Plausible deniability.
Is it possible that Ms. Maxwell had a role in creating CGI?
I'm not going to speculate. I'm here to tell you what I know, and I don't know anything about that.
Understood. And is it possible Mr. Epstein had a role in crafting CGI?
I'm not going to speculate about that either because, I have no way of knowing that because I have no direct knowledge.
I will enter now as Majority Exhibit 12. This will be a letter from Mr. Epstein's attorneys. I will give you a second for it to be passed out. This is a letter dated July 6, 2007. It is from Gerald D. Lefcourt. He was an attorney for Mr. Epstein. He sent this to the prosecutors in the Southern District of Florida. That would be Sloman, Minchell, Lori, and Villafania. And I will direct your attention to page 21. At that top paragraph on page 21, it says, quote, Mr. Epstein was part of the original group that conceived the Clinton Global Initiative, which is described as a project bringing together a community of global leaders to devise and implement innovative solutions to some of the world's most pressing challenges. Again, is it possible that Mr. Epstein played a role in crafting CGI?
I have no idea what he did or what he said he did, and I have no way to testify to the veracity of either. I was not involved.
Have you seen this document before?
No.
The Clinton Foundation accepts donations as part of carrying out its work. Is that accurate?
Yes.
And when seeking, let me take a step back. People charitably provide donations to the foundation.
It's a 501c3, yes.
And do you or anyone else at the foundation ever solicit donations for the foundation?
I'm sure that happens. People talk to us, we talk to people, they ask questions about the work that's being done, and I'm sure that happened in the years before I was involved.
And while
You
you
solicit funds from Jeffrey Epstein for the foundation?
I had no contact with Jeffrey Epstein. I did not solicit funds from Jeffrey Epstein.
Do you solicit any funds for the foundation from Ms. Maxwell?
I did not. Again, we're talking about the creation of the foundation. I was not involved in the creation of the foundation or the creation of CGI. In those early years, I was incredibly focused on my job in the Senate. Bill was focused on setting up the foundation and starting CGI.
Yeah, but what about later years when you were a board member and
And
you were fundraising?
understanding you were occupied with your career as a senator and then your presidential campaign leading up to 2008. But at this time, were you discussing starting the CGI with President Clinton?
I'm going to object to any communications between the two of them. You can ask generally, but that's covered by the marital communications privilege.
Understood. So generally speaking,
I am sure that I talked to my husband about what he was doing to set up the foundation. It was more on the substance of the work. How many drugs was he getting made in India? What was the, idea that was going to motivate, CGI to be what he wanted it to be? It was not in the weeds. It was the concept. It was, the excitement that he had about trying to establish the foundation and CGI.
And similar question for Mr. Band. Did you discuss the creation of CGI with Mr. Band?
Whoever Mr. Band.
I may have, because he was around. He worked for my husband. He was a personal aide to my husband, but I don't have any recollections of any specific conversations.
Broadly speaking, at any time, do you recall any discussions related to distancing the foundation or CGI from Mr. Epstein or Ms. Maxwell?
I don't recall any conversations. I know that sometime, maybe 2003 or so, Bill did not have any ongoing contact with Epstein. And in preparation for this hearing, it became clear to him that Epstein was not interested in the charitable work that was motivating Bill as he traveled around the world, getting people to commit to.
Did she just say that Bill Clinton only realized in the preparation for these very meetings that Epstein was not interested in philanthropy? Is that what she just said? Like, that can't be true. How could all of us have felt like this was going on for so long? And they just didn't know. Okay, well then you guys are complete morons and shouldn't be in charge of your own fucking backyard.
Providing low-cost drugs for not just HIV/AIDS, but eventually tuberculosis, malaria, and other diseases.
And what is your understanding of Mr. Epstein no longer wanting to participate in the foundation's philanthropic goals?
Only in preparation for this have I been told that, there was no real interest there. And there was no point in being involved or connected to him.
And we touched on this.
So even in
Correct me if I'm wrong.
he was arrested twice. 2007, I think, was the first arrest, or 2008, and then 2019, 18. So like, and she's saying she just now realized that he's a piece of shit while they were researching for this deposition. Like, what? That doesn't even make sense.
But you're not aware.
They think we're stupid. I hope everyone realizes how stupid they think we are. Like, please. She thinks we're stupid.
Of Mr. Epstein donating to the foundation. Would you consider, let me back up. President Clinton took trips on Mr. Epstein's jet, is that correct?
Yes.
Would you consider offering a private jet as a donation in kind to the foundation?
Well, I don't know what the rules are under the 501.
I did look up the rules for 501c3s, and you can take gifts. I didn't dig deeper into that. I was like, well, if you can, whatever. I'm not trying to go into all that law, but while it's shady, it's not illegal.
C3 regulations, but it was certainly a gift. And he was, one of a number of people who provided transportation so that Bill could do the work he was doing.
She's so funny.
I think we touched on this. Did Mr. Epstein end up donating to the foundation or CGI?
I have no personal knowledge of that.
You're not aware of a $25,000 donation from Mr. Epstein's affiliated companies to the foundation?
I also just want you to pay attention to her like body language. I am by no means a body language expert, but I know like the whole rolling the eyes and looking up to seek for answers because you don't know what to say. Like these are tells, right? Like I said, not a body language expert, but like she does not have a good poker face.
Only what I was told
She has a good RBF though.
was alleged in preparation for this testimony. I did not know about that, and I don't know that it's true.
Are you aware of the Clinton Foundation reviewing any records in regard to Mr. Epstein donating to the foundation?
I will have to ask our lawyers because I did not.
Have you had any conversations about the foundation reviewing those donations made by Mr. Epstein?
I think I'll have to ask our lawyers. I don't know. I didn't review them.
Understood. Ms. Mace, do you have some questions?
I did. Thank you for being here this afternoon. In your opening remarks, you mentioned this is political theater and partisan. Do you believe the Epstein files are a vast right-wing conspiracy?
I think if they are fully released as the Transparency Act requires, that would be fulfilling the responsibility of the Justice Department. But it appears that there have been many issues with the full release. So I'm not going to characterize it other than to say I think that's a well-known fact.
Are you aware
So she didn't, that was a non-answer. A lot of words to say nothing.
that both Republicans and Democrats voted to subpoena you and your husband?
I am here.
Okay. Are you aware both Republicans and Democrats voted to hold you in contempt when you didn't?
Wait, I have to look into this too, but I'm pretty sure she said, I am here. Well, I'm pretty sure they were subpoenaed earlier and didn't show up, and then they were pressured, and then they did show up. So, like, I have to look into that. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe I'm misremembering. Been having some weird dreams lately, so could always have been a dream, but I'm pretty sure that happened, that they got subpoenaed, they did not show up, and then later decided they would show up.
Well, I am here.
Is that
I am
partisan
here.
when both parties vote to do something together? Is that partisan or nonpartisan?
I think it's standing up for the institution, but there are many other aspects of the committee's work that strikes me as avoiding the main issues about who should be sitting here, who has actual information that might be useful to your investigation.
As a survivor, I'm a survivor.
Get
I
Trump in
appreciated your
here.
opening statement and your prioritizing some of these
Course,
issues.
yes,
Have you
but
always
all
been this
of
way,
you.
believed this way for some time?
Sorry.
Have I what?
Have you believed what you believed in your opening statement for some time?
Okay,
Yes, I
wait.
have.
That was a terrible question. If you remember her opening statement, it was so long and so wordy, and like that was such a vague question that she can give vague answers. She's not going to get anything good out of that question. It was not a good question. And this is where it's like, okay, why was it recorded but not released live and then released later? And why does it seem half the time like their questions are kind of nonsensical, which gives her an out? Like she doesn't have to give a real answer. Like I feel like there's more tangible things they could be asking other than like her feelings about Clinton getting massages or whatever, whatever. So, I don't know. Again, I have thoughts. I don't know what they mean, but here we are.
How long have you had those beliefs or held those beliefs in your opening statement?
Very long.
In 1998, you had those same beliefs?
Yes.
2005,
Yes.
2008,
Yes.
2012,
Sure.
2016,
Mm-hmm.
2020,
Mm-hmm.
2024 to present day, you've held these beliefs the whole time?
Yes, I have.
Have you always believed that women abused by powerful men should be believed?
I know where you're going with this, and I have nothing to say about
Mhm.
anything in the past. I'm here to answer questions about this investigation.
So do you believe that women who are abused by Epstein and Epstein's circle of associates should be believed?
I think that many of them have made very credible accusations.
Have you always thought that, do you think that women abused by powerful men should get justice?
I think that they should have their time to be evaluated, and where there is adequate evidence, they should certainly get justice, and perpetrators should be held to
The
account.
question was, have you always thought that women abused by powerful men should get justice?
Yes, absolutely.
I agree. Are you aware that, you were aware, I think you said this earlier, that Jeffrey Epstein was convicted in 2008 for procuring a child for prostitution and soliciting a prostitute, correct?
That's what the charges were, yes.
And you were aware of that in 2008?
I don't recall that I was aware then.
And in 2008, you were a US Senator still?
I was.
Would you say that Jeffrey Epstein is one of the world's most prolific sex traffickers?
She's a New York senator. She was a senator for New York State. Okay, right? So where did Epstein have a multi-million-dollar estate? She didn't know that one of the wealthiest people in her state, like she didn't hear about it. Like, okay.
From what we know, he certainly engaged in his predatory activities for a long period of time.
Would you say he's one of the world's most prolific sex traffickers?
I don't know what to compare it to. There are terrible sex trafficking rings all over the world.
What do you compare it to is maybe how well known he is, right? Like it's like Jimmy Savile style, like the whole world knows about this man. The whole world knows because the whole world has been affected by this man because he has gone on these vacations around, what do they say these days? Transporting beings, small beings, whatever YouTube guidelines. But you know what I'm saying? Like she was Secretary of State and a senator. Like you didn't, this is a global problem and it's your, whatever. Okay.
And you said you were Secretary of State from 2009 to 2013.
Mm-hmm.
And you state your agency prioritized combating sex trafficking internationally, correct?
That's correct.
During your time as Secretary of State, did you or the state receive any intelligence cables or briefings mentioning Epstein's foreign travel, pedophile island, or his network of pedophiles and sex trafficking?
Not that I am aware of, no.
How did you miss it? If he's, I believe, one of the most prolific sex traffickers in the world,
How?
you were Secretary of State. How did you miss it?
Well, that would have been a matter of the Justice Department, not the State Department.
But in your opening statement and your statements earlier in your opening statement, you stated that Secretary Rubio should be called to testify. And you said that he has, and the administration has, quote, abandoned survivors using the same logic. You were Secretary of State during a time period after Jeffrey Epstein was convicted of being a pedophile and soliciting children for sex. Why then did you, quote, using your own logic, abandon survivors?
What is the question, please?
I followed her comment. First of all, we focused on whether there were laws that made sex trafficking, sexual slavery, domestic violence, other abuses of women on the books in countries. And then we tried to evaluate, were those laws being implemented? And were judges appropriately trained and briefed about how to implement those laws? Were governments taking them seriously? We looked at the broad institutional approach to these very serious abuses.
Would you say the U.S. government at that time, during this time period, was appropriate with the way that it handled Epstein?
I don't think that you could say that was true about any of the government's prosecutorial efforts, starting with the Southern District of Florida and Alex Acosta and all those who basically gave him a sweetheart deal. And then I think going up the chain, there was very little attention paid that should have been paid. But we had laws on the books. They were not being implemented, but that was not within my purview, because what we were looking at is what's the institutional structure, and can we do more to make sure countries take it seriously? Our country had laws on the books. So this man
Were we
is not
taking
held
it
to
seriously?
It was not in your purview when you were Secretary of State. Then why is it today in Secretary Rubio's purview?
Because what's happened is that the office that was actually following what was going on around the world has been decimated. 70% of the staff is gone. It's impossible to carry out the functions of that office if you don't have a critical number of people. So my question would be to Secretary Rubio, is there more that can be done?
I'm out of time here. You were clothed with immense power as Secretary of State. You've stated on the record in your opening statement that child sex trafficking in general, human trafficking, trafficking of all kinds is a priority. You were clothed with immense power. Your husband was clothed with immense power. And until you got the subpoena and until these files were out in the open, you did nothing to try to effectuate all of these things. You say that should have been done. Is that correct?
No, it's totally incorrect. I mean, all of your assumptions are ones that I reject.
When you saw photos of your husband in a hot tub laying on a beach and getting massaged by other women, and you knew that Jeffrey Epstein was involved in some of these trips and these things, did it concern you at all?
I'm here not to offer my opinions. I'm here to answer specific questions to the best of my ability.
When you saw your husband in these photos with young women being massaged, what went through your mind?
I am not going to speculate.
You can't feelings about young women.
You can't speculate on your own opinion and your own emotions.
To offer opinions or speculation about anything that I have no context for and was not there.
After you learned that Jeffrey Epstein was convicted of sex crimes with kids, any of these photos of your husband with women being massaged on the beach, did it concern you?
I have no context for even answering that question. And I think, obviously the innuendo, all the rest of it.
I'm asking a black and white question. I'm not putting any leading statements into it or adjectives. Did you do anything to determine what was happening in those images or on those trips that once you saw these photos, once you realized Jeffrey Epstein was a convicted sex offender of children, did you do anything to determine what was happening on these trips with your husband?
I don't find any of your questions to be relevant to the investigation.
Relevant if a former president was traveling around with young women.
Well, you'll have a chance to talk to him tomorrow.
You said this morning you did not solicit funds from Jeffrey Epstein, correct?
That's absolutely correct.
Did anyone solicit funds from Jeffrey Epstein on your behalf?
Not that I'm aware of.
Did you ever invite Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell to any of your political fundraisers?
I did not personally invite them to my political fundraiser.
Did anyone personally invite them on your behalf?
I do not know.
Is the purpose of a political fundraiser to solicit funds?
You would know that it is.
Okay, and you stated this morning you've never communicated with a Sarah Kay, correct?
I do not know who Sarah Kay is.
Okay, she is a councilwoman from New Rochelle, which is about how many miles from here?
Not very far away.
20 to 25?
I have no idea.
I have an exhibit I would like to enter. This is an email dated September 30th, 2014. Am I allowed to enter an exhibit?
Yes, ma'am. This will be exhibit 13, I believe, majority exhibit 13.
Okay, from September 30th, 2014.
Can you please provide the witness with a copy?
Okay. You have a copy of it? You guys have it? And can you read me the subject line of the email?
Following up event with Hillary Clinton and Congresswoman Lowy.
Do you know who Congresswoman Lowy is?
She was our congresswoman here for many years.
And who is the email from?
Someone named Sarah Kay.
Above that, at the very, you have that very top one. Okay. All right, from Sarah Kay, and it's redacted on who was sent to. Can you read me the email?
Okay, thank you very much for the prompt reply. Hi, Sarah. Thank you for the invitation, but unfortunately, Jeffrey will not be able to attend. Thanks so much for speaking with me just now. Attached, please find the invitation and response card for the event we spoke about with Hillary Clinton and Congresswoman Lowy at the Harvard Club. That was a fundraiser, I believe, for Congresswoman Lowy that I attended to support her, is my recollection.
Okay. And this is it. This is an email. This is an invitation to the fundraiser where you were there.
Do you have any idea if the Epstein referred to is the Jeffrey Epstein? There's a lot of people named Epstein in this area.
This is in the DOJ files.
I have no knowledge of it.
It says Mr. and Mrs. Epstein.
Yeah, I have no knowledge of.
There is an email. I saw it on, see, I have, oh, you can't see it right now, but I have web pulled up and there is an email where Epstein is responding for a place at a table to some event. And they're trying to get the name of his date, but he doesn't really know who he's going to take yet. So he just says, call her Mrs. Epstein. Like I think he just did that because he didn't know who he was going to bring to these things half the time because who knows what young girl's going to show up. And so he would just tell him to say Mrs. Epstein. I have read that with my own eyes, just saying.
Okay. So it could be a different Jeffrey Epstein.
I have. You're showing me an email from someone who I don't recall knowing about a fundraiser that wasn't for me, but was for Congresswoman Lowy. I have no information. Okay. I went to the fundraiser to support my friend Nia Lowy.
All right.
Excuse me, can I interrupt?
I have
There are
another.
photos that are being released of the secretary as she is testifying from inside this room. Can you please advise me as to whether or not that's permissible and consistent with the rules, particularly given that we have asked for a public hearing? If there are photos that are being released of the secretary as she is testifying, can you please explain how
I'm
that
done
can
with
occur?
this. If you guys are doing that, I am done. You can hold me in contempt from now until the cows come home. This is.
Does this seem like a natural response? Like to me, this almost seems like one of their people. Like it's just such a outrageous response to a photo being leaked. Like this whole record, you have agreed that this whole recording, once edited, will be released. So like, why would a photo being released be such a big deal? Like they make such a big stink out of this. Again, I did. I watched like this little part because I failed on my recording yesterday. So this is reaction number 2. But why would you get so upset about a photo being released from the room that they're in right now? What's upsetting? I don't get it. It seems to me like they're like filibustering. Distract, distract, distract. Don't like this line of questioning. I don't know. Something's up because this is an irrationally angry response to a photo being leaked. They're trying to grab at anything they can to like get take that heat off for a little bit. You know what I mean? Like I just can't understand why they would be so upset. They're so upset. Watch, it gets worse.
Just typical behavior.
We will go off the record.
Oh, for
So I
heaven's
would like
sake.
to understand how that's permissible.
Before the hearing was,
It doesn't
Excuse me.
matter. We all are abiding by the same rules.
I will take that down.
Yeah,
So I
well,
would like to take a break at this
yeah,
moment. I'd like to have
I'm
a
done
conversation.
for now.
Go off the record. Go off the record.
Like what was that? What was that?
Go back on the record. The majority's time had approximately 5 minutes left in it. I believe that the witness or her counsel would like to make a quick statement.
Thank you so much. We've just used the break because we learned during the process of these hearings that the committee was violating its own rules and members tweeting and sharing pictures of what is going on inside this closed hearing, a hearing that we have asked repeatedly to be open to the public. Chairman Comer was gracious enough to engage with me on this matter. We asked specifically to invite the press in since the committee had already made decisions on its own unilaterally to release pictures and other things that are going on in this room. He indicated that he wanted to speak to that himself directly. I'd like to just say for the record, we find it unacceptable, we find it unprofessional, and we find it unfair. We are looking forward to this being conducted under the rules and being conducted consistent with expectations of how members of Congress, I know, take this matter so seriously and do it in that vein. We would also like to just indicate as a practical reality that we are here in good faith. We are counting on the good faith of all the members.
Thank you. Chairman Comer.
Yes, I'd like to state for the record, I've advised my members that no photos or videos during the deposition can be released. I understand the posted photo was taken before the deposition started. We will, that will not happen again, and we will look forward to continuing with the deposition.
I'd like to make just a clarification there, Mr. Chairman. It was taken in this room after the witness sat down. It is not a basis that because she had not started speaking, that it would be appropriate for there to have been a release of anything that was occurring in this room.
So
And
nothing was
we
happening.
have made clear that that's not allowed, and I will also say we were disappointed that the secretary's opening statement was leaked to the press before she even gave her opening statement.
So the secretary's statement was not leaked to the press. It was provided as with other witnesses, including Mr. Wexler, who provided his before giving. Hers was given simultaneous. And so what we don't want is the secretary to be treated any differently than other witnesses. That seems to be a consistent pattern, and we would love that pattern not to continue.
We've gone to great lengths to make all the accommodations that you all have requested. So we will, again, the members have been advised that is unacceptable. So we
Thank you.
look forward to continuing the
Thank you
deposition.
very much, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate you addressing it.
Ranking Member Garcia.
Thank you. No, I just want to add, it's completely unacceptable that oversight Republicans and its members in this moment chose to violate both committee
Oh,
rules
boy.
and the agreement.
This guy who's whining right now. I'm pretty sure he's part of the minority staff who's going to ask questions now. And this is about one of the lamest parts of all of it because, like, if she wasn't getting softball questions before from the majority staff or whatever, whoever's asking questions, I don't know. I don't know why they only show her. I want to see who's in the room so I can look up these people's name. Now I gotta go do research on who was in the room, who was their lawyer, who was the people asking questions, so I can look them up and see what they're all about. Because I feel like, especially after this last, like, I don't know, there was a bill that was trying to be passed that would make all of like Congress let it be known if there has been any allegations or accusations against them when it comes to sexual abuse. And they voted it down, of course. Of course. So if these are the same people who are in charge of all of this, then it's just another scam, right? Like they're just giving her softball questions that half the time don't even really make sense, in my opinion. Like I am not a lawyer and I just don't think, I don't know. There are just other ways to ask questions and put more pressure on her, but you know.
But they negotiated directly with Secretary Clinton. Now, the Clintons requested a public hearing specifically to avoid this exact situation. Now, Secretary Clinton has
Avoid
offered to
what?
continue speaking
Their
throughout the deposition
tantrum.
if we also allow the press to come in and on the record. Now, the majority has continued to refuse this. I want to make it very clear for the record that oversight Democrats agree today. They should be allowed here into the deposition. That's been our position from day one. Thank you.
And with that, the majority will conclude its first hour. We'll go off the record.
Okay. I'm gonna pause it here too, because that's an easy place to stop for now. Um, Lots of nothing. I have lots of things just to look up now. Like I don't know, the medicines she said he was making in India and stuff. Like I specifically remember hearing scandals about like Gates testing medicines on like poor children in Africa and stuff. So it wouldn't surprise me if that's what the Clinton Foundation was doing too, especially because they are racist eugenicists. I don't know if y'all know this. She's a she's more sexist and racist than like most of the people in office, I swear. Like in whatever. We're just gonna let it ride. She has said some horrible things in the past, but you know, when you're around that long, people can forget what you said 30, 40 years ago. Or there's these new generations who have no idea what you did. They're just like, I'm with her. There's a woman. Yay. With no idea. Like, that was my whole thing. I'm like, I'll be damned if this woman is America's first female president. Like, that would make me so upset. And then they cheated and brought in Kamala after lying about Biden's health for forever. Just like I said, they always cheat in the primaries and no one's paying attention because everyone's like, oh, I don't really do politics. It's really too much. And it's like, yes, and that's why we are where we are. Because no one's paying attention to what these assholes are doing. But I digress. Anyway. I have a lot of research to do. I don't know if I'll do another episode today or if I will, like another recording anyway, to release over the weekend, or if I'll just wait and start fresh next week. I also realized yesterday it was very difficult to record while my 6-year-old was home after school because he's listening or playing video games and asking me questions and all this stuff. And I think that's probably why I messed up my audio too, is because I was just a little distracted. So anyway, we'll see. Stay tuned. I am honestly more interested to get to Bill's, but because I like say what you will about the man, at least he's like entertaining to watch. Like he has been this charismatic guy forever. That's why he was in office. Like he's the president you can have a beer with. He plays the saxophone. He's great, you know. And now it's like, okay. He's a total creep, but he is way more entertaining than she is. It's like her and Trump. I cannot, like, they make me so insane that it's difficult for me to listen to more than like 2 minutes. That's primarily why I'm doing these recordings, is because there was no possible way I was gonna sit through 4.5 hours of her lying through her teeth unless I was like doing a reaction video and like at least sharing it with people and sh have an outlet for my thoughts that's not just like screaming into the abyss, you know? Like screaming into YouTube is screaming into the abyss, but the abyss will yell back. When you're just yelling at yourself while you're doing the dishes because she's a liar, it's like there's got to be other people out here who hear what I'm hearing, who are interpreting her responses the way I am. You know, like if you're taking it all into account, her word salads, her dancing around the answer, her facial expressions and everything, you know, like her mannerisms. If you take it all in and you really critically think, you'll see what it is. Like you'll see who she is, right? And she has plausible deniability. And like that lawyer said, like whatever, husband, wife, like confidentiality, blah, blah, whatever. So she's right when she says there's probably better people you could talk to. Because one, she doesn't have a problem lying. She's been lying forever. And number two, she has plausible deniability because she, you know, whatever. So she's not wrong. And I'll never say she's stupid. She's not a dumb woman. She's bad at reading speeches. She's bad at being relatable because she's horrible. But she's not dumb. I will never say she's dumb. I will never say she's dumb. Anyway, I feel a little better after I've like sat here and like done this video hopefully proper. All day it was like giving me a little bit of anxiety, like, oh, good, I announced this series and now I have one episode released this week, and my episode yesterday's audio was failed and all this. And so now that I have all that off my chest and I have this one done, I feel a little better. I'll try and get another one as soon as I can. Not that you guys care. I don't know who or why anyone would watch. I don't know who's watching or why, but I love you for being here because you got an open mind and you're. We live in a crazy world, and the more open your mind can be, the less anger you will hold because you won't feel betrayed when you learn the truth, right? Like the second you put your faith in people that you don't know is the second you're like giving yourself up to like being betrayed and being angry and being hateful and everything. But if you can just see what the game is and see what, and then like distance yourself accordingly, like you don't get, I'm a no, like I will tell you how my feelings are, but I won't, like I don't let it absorb my personality like I used to, like in my 20s. I was one of those insufferable liberals who was like, how could you not care about like everything, right? Everything. And I get it. And I do care about those things deeply. Like I do host Earth Day events and I plant trees and crunchy mom, whatever. But I cannot get on board with liars and I cannot get on board with cheaters. And I don't even care. Like, if she's found clear of all of this stuff, I don't care because I've already written her off years ago because I have found her to lie to the public's face and to cheat to get her way. So, like, I don't need any of that. I don't deal with people like that in my regular life and I don't give them my attention, like, day to day, right? She's not getting my vote. I'm not putting my stamp of approval on a person who lies to the people. I'm just not, it's never going to happen. So, which is why it's difficult to vote anymore. Locally, I think it's very important because you do kind of still have a say there, but everything's run by money here. So the more money you have, the more likely you are to win. And that's that's why we really need to bring back like grassroots, real grassroots movements. And if you find good people who are good in their soul, their heart, they see what you see, they understand, even if they don't know all the information you have, right? Or they think, like, whoa, what you said was pretty extreme or whatever, but like they're open to it, like keep with those people, keep talking to them, have weird, annoying conversations that no one thought they would ever have, because that's what we need to do. Like everyone's saying, like, oh, it's too dark. Don't look into it. It's too dark. Like, well, the only way you can, like, that would be like, say, you have this bathroom that's got like really poor lighting, and so you clean it like superficially, the toilet, the tub, it looks clean to you, it looks clean. And then you like, I should really take a flashlight in the bathroom and like make sure because it's so dark in there, I can't really tell if it's clean or what's going on. And someone's like, "No, don't do that. It's disgusting. Do not do that. Don't look at it. Don't try to fix it. It's too disgusting." Like, no, shine the flashlight, get under there, clean out the shit. Like, we don't need it. But you can't do that without shining a light on it and being aware of what is going on because there are way more people involved than we can even fathom because people are buyable. And if you're buyable, I'm sorry, you're part of the problem. I recently had to face this myself. I had to quit my dream job because it ultimately felt like I was selling my soul to someone who did not care, wouldn't have cared if I got hit by a bus, you know? So, like, I realized I was selling my soul. And there was a point, right, where I really wanted it because I wanted to learn. And I learned and I learned and I learned more than I thought I would ever learn, right? And it was amazing. But then there was this tipping point where I was kind of done learning, implement, implement, implement. And then it was like, get taken advantage of. Get taken advantage of. Ask more of me. Ask more of me. Fire 2 bosses in 1 year and ask the assistant manager to train them. 2025. Boss gets fired in October. 6 months of me running 3 businesses by myself. Now, this is beyond a point of learning. This is a point of exhaustion, overwhelm, overworked, isolation. One day I'll make videos about this, but for now, just know that I was suffering and I didn't even realize I was suffering because I was in this controlled situation where like I didn't even have enough energy to think about that I needed to get out, you know? And I don't know why I'm ranting about this right now, but oh yeah, if you're buyable, you're part of the problem. Don't let them buy your ass, man. Like don't I know if someone comes to you saying, I'll give you $100 million, like it would be very difficult to say no. But like, how often does that happen? Never, unless there's something nefarious going on. So like, don't sell out. I'm a 90s kid. Like I was raised on punk rock and like, grunge. I don't sell out. Don't do it. Don't sell out. Okay. And I'm saying this now. And if you ever see me and my eyes look dead and I'm saying some shit that sounds wacky and corporatist and I'm pro war all of a sudden, or, that's not me. That's not me. Anyway, thanks for watching. I have no idea what I'm doing still, but we're here together. Oh, this will evolve, but we got to get through this Clinton stuff because I'm not gonna just watch clips of what other people are saying they're saying because then it can be manipulated and everything. And this is already manipulated. I can't talk today, but you know what I mean. Like why didn't they just release their live deposition? If, whatever. Sorry, my head hurts. I can't keep a straight thought, but you know what I'm saying. I know you do. Anyway, have a good day. Have a good weekend. It snowed today, finally, in Colorado. We have been so dry. It's great. Anyway, see ya.
We can go back on the record. I understand council has something that they would like to say before we get started.
Yes, I would. First of all, I'd like to say I appreciate everyone being here today, but I want to start with